Hi, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Max, and welcome to this Meet the Speaker session. My name is Chris Hansen, and I'll be your host for today. And with me today, dialing in from Vancouver, Canada, and I think it's about 9 p.m. Their time, is animation and motion designers Kunal and Tisha from Good Bad Habits. Welcome to you both.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. Nice to be here.
Hi, Adobe Max. We're so excited to be here.
Yeah.
How are you guys going? All good?
Yes, it's such an exciting time to be part of this event. And we just took a look at the video. It's so good.
It's awesome. I loved it myself. I had to watch it a few times. So can you describe, just to the audience, in case people don't know, exactly what you do?
Yeah, we're animators. So we studied animation here in Canada, and now we started a company together called Good Bad Habits, and we work on animation and motion design. So we work with filmmakers, we work with ad agencies, we work on
education, all sorts of projects. Every project is different, and we kind of embrace that. We love the fact that every project is different. We're not trying to go down one rabbit hole. We just enjoy design, animation, and bringing it together.
Yeah, I love it. So I've actually got a motion background myself, so seeing some of your work has been incredibly inspirational as well. So I just want to talk to you about what I'm going to do here. I'm going to ask you a few questions. We've got some ready to go, but I do encourage everyone who's out there to send in your questions in the chat, and I'll be sure to get to them as quickly as I can. But I'm going to start with one. What made you choose Canada as your home base?
So I guess I reached Canada before her. So I was wanting to study animation. I had done my first undergrad in design and film, and I just wanted to learn it. I wanted to learn animation properly, and I knew I had to study it again. So I did something somewhat risky, like doing a double undergrad, repeating another. So, I was trying to find out colleges that were like directorial, kind of more hands-on, make storytelling-based kind of courses. And I couldn't afford the US, I couldn't afford the UK, and my research took me to Canada, which was a mix of an affordable, but also a welcoming country. I think that was also a very important factor for me. I wanted to go to a place where I would feel welcome, and it wouldn't be too much of a language or cultural barrier. So that's Canada.
Yeah, interesting. So, how did you expand your network after moving to Canada?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it helped very much that I came in to study, because I think having peers who are like students and you're just young and broke, and you're broke together and you're just exploring the city and whatever I think that helps you really get some roots. And you get to meet people who are not only animators or designers, and you meet someone else and someone else through someone else, and you go to, I think that helped a lot. And this was definitely at a time before the internet was a way to meet people for work or otherwise. So it was like, it was like, I think 2006 when I came to study. So I think, and then being interested in things that were outside of animation also helped, I think. So I was interested in other stuff.
I think it also really helps if you're extroverted in this case, and like coming to a new country where you don't know anyone and you don't have any other support. You're just pushed into that world where you have to engage with other people, and sometimes it's your friends and who your peers, but sometimes it's also just random people who you want to be somehow become friends with, and that's how you slowly start getting to know more people. Currently one of our biggest clients, or like a client that we've been working with a lot over the last few years, we just met them through we were subletting our home when we were going to India, and they wanted to come stay in that place for their family, and we started chatting, and we got to know that they work in the same field and they need animation, and they're one of our biggest clients now.
And it's just to say, like, I think there is no one way to kind of increase your network. You just have to like try do 5,000 things, and then
and just by living here and interacting with people.
It's a very slow process. It's not a very direct, I did this and therefore that came back. There's a thing. It's more like you just live and then things come back.
And I suppose there's so many different channels from different areas where you can just grab that type of I suppose, direct you to the right people at the right time as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of support, what advice would you have for people wanting to offer support to creatives around them?
Offer support to, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. What advice would you have for people wanting to offer support to creatives around them?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I understand the question correctly, it's like, how do you help people grow around you?
Yes, yeah.
So if it's like some people like, I think one thing would be definitely to be on social media, because people put their work there. That's the foreground of where work is being shared, and to really, follow people, support them, like, comment, like if you comment on that, if you give people feedback, because I think one of the major benefits of being in an academic institution is that you get feedback from peers, you get feedback from teachers, and we learn the most through that, and so with the internet and with social media, you can actually give feedback to people who you have never met. And I think that's the best way to support young talent or emerging people, is like, tell them, like, I loved it, I really message them directly saying, I'd love to know how you did that, or this really reminded me. Some of the things that have really made the most difference to us are just a random comment on a YouTube video, like that's just, it's from the heart, and you're like, wow, like our work really affected this person, and it's not some big shot in the industry, it's like some person in the world, and you just
it affected them enough. It affected them enough to actually comment, because a lot of people, they will watch something or they'll see something, and then they'll just go, yeah, that was cool, and then move on. So I can definitely relate to you on that. I got a question for you. Who comes up with the ideas?
I think it depends on the project. So currently we're doing it also, like we're handling separate, projects. So if, whoever's handling that specific subject will research that and come up with the idea, storyboard, etc. It's only when topics are super complicated, and I guess we sit down together to
it helps to be able to like brainstorm like a ping pong game, where you're like bouncing ideas. Otherwise we kind of sit with it, we divide our projects, and then we kind of present to each other at a later stage, where like we kind of come up with some ideas, but
then critique the shit out of it.
I love that. Okay, we've got a question here from Laura. So for Kunal, being forced to be an artist, what is your take on introducing others to it?
So that was a joke. But my parents, like, I feel like they didn't really tell me about the like things like being an engineer or a doctor.
And
or a lawyer.
Most Indian parents would do that, right? That's the stereotype.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like I was kind of robbed of the opportunity to be a doctor. Like it was never presented as a career choice for me. So but it was like a half joke, of course. But so the question again is,
being forced to be an artist, what is your take on introducing others to it? Yeah, so it's, I mean, given that I was joking, I mean, I think the thing is that like what was presented at a young age was art, music, painting. Like there was just this daily barrage of like, things. So somewhere, like I guess my parents were like, something is gonna happen with the two brothers. So my brother works in Stockholm. He works in Volvo. He's also a designer. I'm here with Tisha. I think your parents were also like similar. So I think it's just like they just put a bunch of stuff down, like in front of us over our childhood, and then something kind of clicks. And I don't know if I answered the question. No, that's fine. So, okay, I got a couple of questions in regards to, so you mentioned self-doubt, right, in the talk. And how do you deal with self-doubt, if you have it? And what advice would you give to people who would have self-doubt?
Right. I mean, of course, we have self-doubt in it. Sometimes we're just like, I guess, like maybe talking to each other and like, dealing with that just through support, like with friends and all. But I think it also, like in today's day and age, we've seen like even through social media, like some of the biggest artists are like the people who I'm super inspired by. I see them and they, like the person who I respect the most, like even they're going through self-doubt, and even they think that, they're not good enough. So just to see that everyone's going through it. It's not just me. So it's just a part of life, I guess. It's like everything else, you will go through it, and how can you not? You know?
I think just to add to that, I think one thing that was definitely different today than it was like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when we were like kids. There's like back then, process was not something that was easily accessible. So you would only see the final product. Okay, Van Gogh, Matisse, so-and-so, so-and-so filmmaker, this, you would only see the finished product, and you were this little kid or teenager looking at something, and you had no idea how to join the dots to get there, right? And now with the internet, now the way knowledge is shared, now the way resources are shared, you can see the process and you can hear the artists talking, and they're young and they're sometimes not young, and it doesn't matter. It's you're hearing them and you're seeing the vulnerable side of the person who you like. And you're like, so many people who we love are talking about the fact that I'm just winging it. I have no idea what I'm doing. And you're like, okay, if the person who is winging it, then I'm also winging it, and that's fine. There's no shame in admitting that, like, we're just figuring it out as we go. There's no rule book. But the process is apparent today. Like today, everyone's putting their process up, and I think that's the liberating aspect of technology.
Yeah, and I think as well, as you go through your process, you eventually develop, your flow, and then you get into that state of flow where you can just start, mixing with different types of ways to produce your content. So we've got some more questions coming in. There's one here from Nathan, which is similar to one that I have. So I'm just going to merge them together. Okay, so Tisha, what is Kunal's strengths and weaknesses? And as a follow-up, Kunal, what is Tisha's strengths and weaknesses? Tisha, you go first.
Okay, so Kunal's strength, I would say he is super hardworking. So like he loves working. Yes. Like when we have a ton of work, like, which I personally think that is like way more than we can handle. Like he is turned on by that. Like he suddenly gets like extra 5 hours in his day to do those extra projects. So it's like, so I mean, obviously that I guess in the long term it's not the best for his health, but it's great because it keeps us so inspired and so excited to keep doing what we're doing. Weaknesses, where do I start? I don't think we have enough time to cover that. So I'll pass it on to Kunal.
Okay.
Strengths and weakness. I think, and this is true in personal life and professional life, I think Tisha is
Careful.
My marriage depends on the sound. So I think, so she's a perfectionist. Anyone who's ever met her in her life will agree with me. So there is no denying that. And
is that the weakness or strength?
That is both. It is like that thing where like at some point you gotta let go. Just chill. It's not gonna be perfect, but no, the thing is, unlike, she can actually execute it to perfection, which I'm not. I don't have that perfectionist kind of quality. Never have had it. But that's a strength and a weakness. And I think, and in a related note, also patience. I think she's very, very patient. So that's like a kind of I'm not that patient sometimes, but patience, I think, also like is a good quality until it's in a professional scenario. You have to have some boundaries, because there's always going to be a client who wants always something that is a little bit unreasonable, and Tisha's that person who will be like, I'm going to do it for you, the 15th revision, no problem, with this big smile. And I'm like, oh, like, Tisha, what are you doing? Like, don't be so patient. So yeah, that's what I think. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Am I in trouble?
No.
I'm not causing any rifts here. So. That's awesome. So, okay, I've got a couple more questions that's come in. One from Cindy. How are you fostering your daughter's creativity?
Honestly, like I guess at one level we're all, how would I say, like we haven't started her career of watching television and only sticking, being obsessed with TV right now. So we are trying as much as we can to spend time with her whenever we get a chance, and
engage with her physically, like, with toy, like with song and music, and
like doing art with
together.
her. She doesn't watch TV, but she does watch our animation.
Yeah, she knows
and
which one Tisha's done. She knows which one I've done.
Yeah, and she likes watching that, and and
she critiques.
But yeah, like right now she's 2 years old, so I guess it's just like doing art and crafts and spending time with her whenever she wants to do something exciting.
Do you ever consult her for any ideas?
Not as yet. But every time a project is going too smoothly, we kind of introduce her to like kind of just shake things up and like it's like introduce a little virus in the machine that kind of
Yeah, nice. Okay, one that's just come in from Pete. How do you balance work and personal life running a business together? Especially during the pandemic. I'm really interested to hear your answer to this.
And I think this has been extremely hard. I would say it's a big struggle. Like we're struggling through it, but we're managing through it. It's like that. So thankfully, like we had daycares going, so when she was at daycare we would get a chunk in the day where we would be able to work, and then once she's home, it's all time to her, and then we just have, like, I guess sometimes if it's really a busy time, then we both understand each other. I mean, we're doing the same thing, so it really helps that we know how it is when things are busy, and one person has to just work and one person just takes the other, like we just divide the duties. But it's hard. It's really hard.
I think one thing
you go, Kunal.
I think one thing that I have always kind of felt strongly about is that, like, and then I find it hard to sometimes relate to people who say that this is as much as I'm going to work, and that's that. And I'm like, when you draw two, maybe that's the thing, I'm not going to judge, but like I feel like our life choice is such that when you own a business, it's very hard to draw these kind of 9 to 5 or that's it. And you're not a salaried person. You're not a person who if you want your project to be better, you can put in the hours and it's going to be better, and I've always had that kind of attitude towards it. It might be healthy, might not be unhealthy, I don't know, but I've decided to not judge when I'm overworked, and I've decided to not judge when I'm chilling for like 2 months and no project is in sight and I'm not taking both are fine. There's this kind of tendency to be like, oh, I'm working too much right now, I shouldn't be. Why? Like, you're working. It's such a blessing to be able to get.
See what I said about that?
To get work, to make images and get paid for it. Are you crazy? Like, I would do this for free. But at the same time, so like when we're working, I think I just go, and then on the other side, when you're chilling and when you're on a holiday, and because we are our own boss, we can take 2 or 3 months. Like, we're going to.
Or like when we don't get any projects.
We don't question it. It's not a reflection on, oh, we must suck, therefore we're not getting. No, it's you enjoy the break when there's a break, and enjoy the hustle when it's busy. I think
because work will always come in, right? It'll eventually come through, and then once you're that happens, you're in that zone and you're doing that. I got a couple of rapid fire questions for you. Okay, we'll start with this one. Who's the better animator?
Kunal.
2D and illustration, Tisha, and maybe After Effects.
Rest of animation, Kunal. And also, I think Kunal's been working on it. Like, I mean, he's been at it for way longer than I have. So
I'm a senior citizen compared to her. So.
He's 7 years older than me, just so everyone knows.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so here's another one. I really like this question. Tisha, what is Kunal's good and bad habits? And Kunal, what is Tisha's good and bad habits? Tisha, you go first.
So I guess, this is kind of like, what our name is, right? Good, bad habits. What's a bad habit that's also good? I'm going to take this question as that, interpret it as that. So Kunal's bad habit is, I guess, he's a cleanliness freak, and it drives us nuts. Like, it's like one of those things, we have a kid, right? So like, you see that IKEA shelf there, like everything in there is like organized by shape. And all parents, when they get a new toy, they, the first day they'll put it back like that. But Kunal does that every night. So much so that when I'm trying to like just shove everything back, my daughter is now telling me, no, this is not the right way because she's learned it from him. So he's a cleanliness freak. And that's a good bad habit because at the end of the day, I have a clean home every day. And most people, I guess, who come think that it's me because, that's how sexism works sometimes. So they just, so I get the credit.
So yeah, I think generally when it comes to habits, I have a lot of bad habits and Tisha has a lot of good habits. But if you're asking like, okay, so I think Tisha is not a person who needs any stimulant, like, like a coffee or a tea or, like just, there's nothing, like she's just able to get, she wake up and she's like 100%, 110% and she's ready to go. And I need like a list of things before my day can start. And so I think I guess that's like maybe a good habit. It's kind of annoying a little bit that she doesn't have these kind of crutches that the rest of society needs. Like, I'm going to have a coffee because I need, and she's like zipping through life without these things. Nice. So I guess it's a good bad habit, maybe. I don't know.
Nice. All right, we got a couple of minutes left. I just want to ask you a couple more questions that have come through. This one's from Kevin. What app do you spend the most time in?
After Effects, I guess. App?
Sorry. You mean like social media app or like?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry.
I'd say I think what Kevin means is what animation app do you use?
Adobe. Yeah, I would say After
Design
Effects.
App. Yeah.
After Effects and followed by Photoshop for me, I think.
And After Effects and Illustrator for me. So.
Yeah, cool. All right, there's a couple of minutes to go. I want to ask you one or two more questions. First of all, you mentioned in your talk about what an 80-year-old animator might look like. I want to actually ask you that. What do you actually think an 80-year-old animator would look like?
I mean, hopefully fit. Hopefully.
But I think the point of the question is, like, as well, how will animation adapt in time? Your perspective on it.
I think there's obviously going to be things that we can't even imagine right now, but there will be always storytelling or design related things that will never be. I don't see that being replaced by a robot or a machine or AI or something like that. So I think that like it's really what the person sees themselves, like if they have a healthy relationship with their work and they enjoy it. I think it'll be so cute to see an 80-year-old lady animating and or a man. Like it's so sweet and just like just talking about the timing and being like, do you think how is the graph looking? And like,
all right, awesome. Now it's time to wrap. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know your beautiful daughter is asleep, so glad we didn't wake her up. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Thank
you so much for having us, Chris.
No worries.
It's so nice to be here.
Bye-bye.